Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. Release every day's video. So it's Saturday. On Saturdays, I do Cellar Saturday where I drink something off the shelves behind me. So I have had this in my possession for a bit, but I did not age this from inception. Just FYI, because when this beer came out, I was depending on what time of year, I was either a freshman or sophomore in college. This beer is so old that, again, depending on when it was bottled, it could legally drink in the United States right now. It has been aged for 21 years. So it's J.W. Lee's Harvest Ale from 2002. Has not been properly cellared, I would not say, because it was just sitting on the shelves when I bought it. So I have no idea what to expect with this one. I love this beer typically, and I'm hoping to love this one as well. A lot of good memories with this beer. For example, just one that kind of popped in my mind was I dog sat for my friends Matt and Sarah when they were out of town many years ago, well before I had Bruno, and I wasn't really a dog guy actually. I was kind of like notorious for not, really wanting to be around dogs, and we got Bruno. Of course, my whole life changed. But anyway, they got back and they gave me one of the big bottles of probably like 750 milliliter as a thank you for taking their dog for walks and everything. And no hiss, that's not a good sign. Just good memory. Then I think we end up splitting the bottle, the three of us. All right, so no hiss. We'll see. How still is this 21-year-old? Well, so I guess I might as well pour the whole thing now, like I'm going to get a nice head for the Instagram shot. I'm already smelling the beer, and what I'm getting smells really good. It's like huge date syrup, caramel, raisins. So hopefully that bodes well for the rest of the experience. It's 9.3 fluid ounces. It's 11.5% ABV. And again, I'm not lying. 2002. It's crazy. Is this the oldest one? No, I reviewed that, right? I did a 1999 beer. I don't think that one held up very well, if I remember correctly. But anyway, here's a beer I know I love, and it's old AF. That is, I don't know how it's coming across on camera. That is, I think, the darkest brown color you can possibly have. To where it almost seems black. And so you really look at it, and it's like, no, it's not actually black. It's really dark brown. That's a trip. There's, I guess, a little bit ahead. But yeah, I mean, just not much to look at. Not much else to say. Not a lot of nuance in that color. It's just a dark brown blob. Even down here, I don't see any red or anything. Almost like pectin sticking to the side of the glass. There's definitely some legs. I don't know if I can call that lacing so much as just sediment sticking. Let's see about the taste. Oh, sorry. Let's see about the aroma. So it smells pretty darn good. The stuff I was saying before, definitely there. There is a staleness to it. I wouldn't quite go wet cardboard or any of that kind of stuff that can happen. At least I'm not getting it now. I mean, it's very much sherry, a little bit of port wine, with these deep raisin, date, some fig, caramel notes. Brown bread. Molasses, some honey. The raisin might be actually it's not over 50% of it. It's not like the dominant, it is the dominant note, but it's not the majority note, is what I mean to say. You get all that stuff I'm saying for sure, but the one that stands out the most is raisin. But yeah, it's not like 80% of what I'm smelling. I think of, just as an example, right? Maybe a beer that has vanilla, and you're smelling it, it's like 80% of this aroma is vanilla. So it's the dominant and the majority. Raisin's the dominant, but not the majority of this aroma. It's about the taste. Cheers. Follows the aroma pretty good. This, okay. Ooh, big grape note. Still a raisin. For brevity, everything I said in the aroma, and I'll break it down more if, maybe there's different intensities or whatever. a grape note, like grape juice, that I did not get from the aroma at all. I mean, I talked about raisins, but raisins and grapes, they come across very different, right? When you eat them, you smell them, taste them. So very much grape juice. I don't love the aftertaste. It's a little too like stale. Actually, that's where I do get some stale cardboard notes. The beer is definitely beyond its peak. There's no question. It's such an obvious thing that this beer has peaked a while ago. But it has the flavors I want, which is cool. And it's not even so much they're muted. They do taste stale. Like you're not spoiled, expired, but just how food can be stale sometimes. It has stale qualities. So it's like just a real trip to drink, and it's a really good experience from a beer reviewer point of view, or just someone who wants to know more about, different things you could potentially taste in beer, especially aged beer. This is so stale tasting that it's like really obvious, so that might help pick up less obvious ones, but still have hints of that. So I do appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, you definitely get the dried fruit stuff. Everything's so interwoven. There's a little bit, and now that I'm thinking about it, so this was in the aroma too. The fact that there's anything, it has to come from the hops. The fact that there's anything hop happening after 21 years, a little bit of pine, somewhere between pine and mint. But here's the weird part. Interwoven with the molasses, and these are not things that I associate, but like in the spirit of how this beer has melded together, those flavors are just melded together at this point. And I'm not advocating you start putting pine or mint in cookies that have molasses, for example, but in this beer it's not a contradictory thing. It's odd. It's just it's not even an odd taste in this beer. It's just odd because those are not flavors I would pair together, Excuse me, this is a trip and a half. Yeah, the molasses and grape thing too, the raisins, all the dry fruit, like I said. I guess the molasses is kind of, even though things have melded together, it's not a blob. I mean, there's still ups and downs of things, but there's no like firework pops of anything. But the baseline, I think, is molasses, and then other things happen. But again, it's not like big pops. It's pretty like cohesive and melded together. Really interesting beer. And knowing these J.W. Lee's Harvest ales pretty well, it's really cool to just taste the stuff that's supposed to be there in this different way. And again, definitely beyond its peak. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that this is the best this has ever been. I get more of the sherry port stuff in the aroma than I do in the taste, but there is some of that in the taste. There's definitely some of that in the taste. The date syrup is huge too. Now I kind of want to say the date is the through line. And then, yeah, that aftertaste, it's not as bad as when I first drew attention to it. I think actually each sip is making the aftertaste a little bit more pleasant. But it's still not, it doesn't leave an off taste in my mouth, but it's not like, this is really delightful. Like if I had a glass of water, I'd probably drink some water right now, like it's like that level, but not like, oh my God, I gotta rinse my mouth out, I have to. It's more of like, oh, if I had some water, I would, but I'm not gonna like immediately cut this review to go get some water to rinse out my mouth. Definitely one of the more fun ones of these I've done lately. Not the tastiest. I've had ones that were tastier, but like when you get to really dissect something that's different, it's just a little bit more fun that way. But yeah, have you guys had this beer ever? Have you had this beer aged for quite a bit? How about what's the oldest beer you've ever had? Anything, everything, comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. Once you're done doing that, make sure you check me out on Instagram and Untappd. It's No Hype Beer Reviews at both of those places. So always please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.